Hello, y'all. Today we are going to discuss spending habits, and differentiating between needs versus wants. My name is Caprice. This is Lava Solutions, and let's get started. Nope. Okay. So essentially, why do we want to separate our needs versus our wants? For starters, it can help with future budgeting plans. So if there is an event that's coming up that you maybe want to prepare for, financially, if there's an emergency that may come up, you want to potentially prepare for that as well. If there is a trip that maybe you wanted to go on, if there is an expected bill coming up, you just want to be able to have a budgeting plan in place. That way, when it's time to make the necessary changes and transactions between your needs versus wants, you'll be able to spend accordingly. And not for nothing, it also helps build financial stability and wealth for the future, whether it's 6 months from now, a year, 5, 10 years from now. Putting money into savings and watching that money grow exponentially will help differentiate how to separate your needs versus wants when spending. So it's important that you want to make sure that you have enough money to take care of the things that you want to pay and operate with. We'll move on to the next. So differentiating what is a need versus a want. Need is spending that is crucial for basic functioning and survival. These basic needs and necessities essentially are the five pillars of survival anywhere: housing, food, transportation, clothing, and childcare or education. Housing, this could be basic housing, so anything like a car pay, or I'm sorry, a rent payment or a mortgage. Um, it could be any utilities, any expenses that may feed into the home. Food being groceries, not going out as often or every day to eat or to a restaurant or fast food, but going out and getting groceries, having a list prepared. That way you don't go out and spend off of the list and staying within the budget that you planned before going shopping. Transportation can also include, if you have a car, if you drive to and from work, making sure that you have gas in the tank, making sure that your payments, if you have a car note, making sure the payments are up to date. If you have insurance, I think I mentioned this, you want to make sure you have insurance taken care of as well. For those of us that live in the DMV that maybe take public transportation or anywhere in a major city that has public transportation, making sure that you have public fare in order to get to and from your destination safely. And making sure that's also budgeted for as well is important. Clothing. Clothing, this can be, doesn't have to be anything too outlandish or nothing too crazy. Just, a couple shirts, anything. I personally like to have at least 2 weeks of clothes that I can wash and repeat and rotate in and out of. So making sure that you have enough to, in my world, say at least 2 weeks of clothes until you need to wash again. That should be more than enough. So shirts, socks, pants, undies, undergarments, uh, anything, clothing. And then childcare and education for those that may have young children at home or are paying for school for these young children, whether it's a private education, whether it's daycare, whether it's tutoring. These are the five basic necessities that are necessary when trying to differentiate between a need versus a want. Your wants. These are spendings on purchases that are not crucial for basic functioning and survival. I know that we all recently saw this new iPhone 16 and all these luxury brands like Cartier, Chanel, Chloe, all the designer brands listed here. These are not purchases that we need to be crucial for basic functioning and survival. These are not needs. These are specific wants. Wants are totally fine. Every now and then it is okay to plan to buy and expend what I want. Just make sure that you have the money and budget planned out accordingly so that you can enjoy those purchases that will improve upon your comfort and lifestyle. So if you are one that enjoys dining out at restaurants, if you're one that enjoys entertainment, like going to a show or going to the movies or taking luxury trips or taking a road trip anywhere. Things cost money. If you like to shop, these things do cost money. And while they may not be a need, these wants are something that people enjoy often. So never anything wrong with having these wants, but again, just making sure that you budget accordingly so that way you do not overspend on wants and lack in the needs. And one thing that I do, I guess going back to the needs versus wants, is differentiating, making a pros and cons list. Like if I get For example, what I do sometimes is for housing. If I know I'm paying rent, I usually make rent the priority and utilities before I go out and I look to add more pieces to my room. I just bought why am I blinking? I just bought a poster, a Knicks poster, recently that just went up on my wall that was $60. But after having paid rent, utilities, my car note, and making sure all my other needs were met, I went out and purchased those items that really didn't improve upon the basic five necessities. But these are okay. These are purchases that you are okay to make. These you can live with or without them. Just make sure that you budget and plan accordingly. And just a reminder, balance is key. In an accounting class that I took many moons ago, my professor brought up the 50/30/20 rule. 50% of your income comes from needs or is allocated to needs, 30% go to wants, and the 20% goes to savings or debt repayments. If you have any debts that are outstanding, like credit card payments, um, really, that's the only thing I can think of. If you have any credit card payments or any loans that are coming out, making sure that those obligations are paid first and then putting the rest towards savings. But do not neglect yourself of wanting to have those needs versus wants. That's why again, balance is key. You make the list, you identify the five needs and necessities that are crucial for everyday life. And then you make those wants occasionally, make those purchases how you see fit, but always remembering to pay your bills first, making sure your debt repayments are made, and having savings in the process as well. But definitely make sure your needs are met first. Balance is key. To kind of wrap up very quickly, my takeaway from this is just be intentional with your spending habits. Understand again, maybe you don't need to go out and get that new iPhone 16. Could you hold off a couple months? If you were to hold off a couple months, how long would it take you to not really have a payment plan on this phone? If you could wait a couple months to plan accordingly financially, how you could just have the phone paying out of pocket, will that expense really be that much of a want for you? Probably not. But yeah, making sure that you have the right plan and budget in mind will help differentiate your needs versus wants when you spend. Prioritize your needs, enjoy your wants responsibly and with responsibility. Recognize what matters most. If you don't, like I said before, getting those luxury cars, or luxury vehicles, luxuries, these these are not necessities. Necessities are things that you can just use on a daily basis every day that will continue with the function of life. Your wants, these are things you want to enjoy leisurely. Every now and then, if you have money to do so, you do that after having budgeted and planned accordingly. But enjoy those things responsibly, similar to the folks in this picture who are out enjoying a beer responsibly. They budgeted accordingly. And there are any questions, we will be sure to keep you on the right track with like this young man here with the wheelbarrow full of money. We'll make sure that you have everything you need so that you can adapt to these rules and adopt them accordingly. So it'll be time for some financial stability and growth. I do thank you all for your time. Thank you for joining us today. These are our needs versus wants. We will share this accordingly and keep you all posted. Thank you all for your time.